Rahmatullah.
Can you hear me well?
We can hear you.
Yes. Okay. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali kulli wa sahbi kulli ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa akhlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Welcome to another session of delving into Quranic treasure. And as we have done it before, we're trying to understand the deep message and wisdom of Quran, particularly in terms of how it speaks to us. Yesterday, we began to discussing another quality of Quran or another feature of Quran, which we call a description of Quran. In this regard, we'll look at the Quran as the guidebook for us to understand the event, to understand what happened to us personally, what happened to us as a humanity, as a society. So the Quran, in this regard, through certain stories, that it looks like as if a historical event, but in reality, the Quran is revealing universal principles and lessons for us that we can follow them any times and in any society when we face a similar situation. So yesterday we focused on the Battle of Badr. Historically speaking, that was very important, perhaps one of the most important battles in the history of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the companion, the early Islam. But again, that has been more than 1400 years. Why should we care about this? Why the Quran will mention that? So we discussed this yesterday, and we find out that there are many universal principles inside that story. And the purpose of that story is not telling us the history, because the Quran is not the history book, but the purpose is through that historical event to give us a practical lessons for our life. And I think it was truly eye-opening, when we reflected on several such lessons. Now we're going to continue on this journey today, and we're going to talk about another event, and that is the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. And again, historical side, I guess many people know that. Dr. Ali will mention this as well. But our main objective is to see how we can go beyond the history and reveal the universal message within that particular event. Let's start, Dr. Ali.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. MashaAllah, you always do a good job to summarize what we have discussed the day before. MashaAllah. I'm really pleased just to remember what we have been doing. Now, everybody keeps talking about the importance of Badr. Mostly, not, well, of course, everyone. It is understood, it is important because the Muslims won. Muslims proved to be a very powerful communities. As far as I understand, yes, it is important, yeah, because they were the triumphant, but even the more important aspect of it, now better by becoming a winner, then they were seriously taken. They were seriously taken by the tribes, neighboring tribes in the Arabian Peninsula, especially in the Hijaz area. And then it was an independent and uh, has its own authority and establishment, administration, so the government. It was totally established, but a government, established government, recognized government. Now, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah has uh, prepared this ground and demonstrated that the people in Medina, in the newly established community in Medina, is not rebels against Meccan authority, but by signing the treaty, it was recognized legally that this Medina administration, Medina government, is a legal administration. Therefore, it was legalized by signing the treaty. You know, everybody knows that any state, if there are some rebels, they don't recognize their authority, their existence as a legal authority. They always call them rebels. They always call them rebels. But Hudaybiyah guaranteed that Medina administration or Medina government is not rebels, but legally authorized, established uh, authority or government. So this is the most important side of it. Inshallah, we will start this ayah, and everybody knows this, Surah Fatih Surah Fatih, and the first ayah. Let's listen to it as we are following this way. Bismillah.
إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا.
Now, this is a short ayah, but let's read the significance of it. Truly, we have opened up a path to clear triumph for you. Now, فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا, about signing a treaty with Meccan authority, legalized authority now. Meccan authorities legalized and recognized by all tribes. Now, Mecca is also, Medina also is recognized by all tribes, because they understand that if Mecca administration, which is highly regarded by the tribal tribes in Arabian Peninsula, sit down and sign a treaty, it means they also recognize, Mecca also recognize the Medina. But there was no war. There was no, with the other word used in the Quran, qital or jihad, but fatih. What does it mean? So we have opened up a path. Inna fatahna alayka, open up a fatha mubina, a clear opener, obvious opening. What does it mean? We usually understand fatih, conquer. Fatih has nothing to do with conquer. Fatih is, conquer conquering is işgal. Now, taking over the land. But Fetih is opening. This ayah guarantees that we opened up your path. Now, it means the real conquer starts with fetih, opening. And we can read this one. Historical context. In 628 CE, Prophet signed the peace treaty with the Meccan at Hudaybiyah. Many Muslims saw as humiliating. Yeah, is the 628 correct?
I don't know, I don't recall the exact
No.
date. We can correct it later, no problem. Go to the.
No problem now.
Ah.
At Hudaybiyah, that many Muslims saw as humiliating. Look, because they came there, sorry, they were barred from entering Mecca and had to return home without completing their minor pilgrimage, Umrah. So they came there with difficulties. There were problems also in Khalid bin Walid. That time Khalid bin Walid was not embraced, had not embraced Islam. Okay, we are not going to this detail. It is not related to our subject. And then without, and the Prophet ﷺ promised that I dreamt of going and making Umrah in Mecca, and they didn't. As if the Prophet was telling not really something true. And also, they felt that we are humiliated. We can fight now. Although they didn't come to Mecca to fight, just Umrah. It is the usual way. It is very accustomed way of coming to Mecca for pilgrimage with a peaceful way and then turning back. So this surah was revealed immediately after the signing. So let's see what is the message here. And also emphasize on fetih, what fetih is. The Quran reframes a political setback as divine conquest. Now, divine conquest is fetih. So it teaches that the surface appearance of events, we discussed this a lot yesterday, so we are not going to go into that explanation. On the surface event, we may think that it is not a good thing to experience. But this is what defeat, compromise, withdrawal. This is the appearance of it at first. May conceal a deeper providential logic. Yesterday we called it what? Wisdom. Invisible to those within the event. That's what we don't see, the wisdom, mercy in it. A 10-year truce, this is important, 10-year truce, that is this condition of that was the condition of the treaty, that allowed for the peaceful spread of Islam across Arabia. That is the key point. This peaceful spread of Islam is fetih. Why? The minds, the feelings, the understandings of the people will be opened up to the truth, to the reality, to the truthfulness of the revelation, teach them what the revelation, the Quran, so far or thus far revealed to the people, tribes. That's why the Prophet ﷺ used to send small groups of people to teach them, which is in Arabic, everybody knows tabligh, making dawah. So they were dispatched to go there, 20, 30 people, depending on the circumstances, go there and introduce what the Medina administration, because they accept administration, the administration was legalized, but not Islam, message of the prophet, but administration was legalized. So they were there as commissaries introducing what this Medina administration was about, introducing the message now. So people were becoming more and more familiar with the teachings of the revelation. That is fetih. That is what we call it, conquering the minds, conquering the hearts of the people. Treaty of Hudaybiyah opened the hearts and minds of the people to receive the message of the revelation. That is called fetih. We should, for example, we should refresh our minds now. If you go with power and invade a place, what happens? For example, after the event, I went to Iraq and observed there. American army came and almost invaded. It is called invasion, but they don't say it legally. Invaded Iraq and established their authority there. And afterwards, what happened after some years? Practically, people developed a negative sense against America, not positive. Because if someone, think about it, Dr. Nejati, when I say Dr. Nejati, means all the participants, right? Not only you personally. You are the representative of participants, our friends here. So, Dr. Nejati, think about it. Somebody comes and gets into your house, your property, and says that this is my property, you have to be under my control. But Muslims were not like Europeans. They get their old history. When they invade, they give no right at all. But Muslims did never do that. So they went there, for example, during Seljuk, during Ottoman, they went there, they said, you are free to practice your religion, you are free to keep your property, but I am the ruler. So if someone comes and says, okay, your house is mine, and you are free to live here, but I am the administrator, the one who orders you. For example, the person came there and he's a Christian, right? Took over your house with the power. You cannot do anything because you are weak, and says, okay, I am a Christian. I am going to impose you Christianity. Would you accept it by force?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I was young. Well, I'm sharing my own experience. I was young. I went to Romania, Bulgaria, Greece, and Yugoslavia. At that time, Tito was there. So I found the people not sympathetic to Islam at all. People, local people. Greeks, for example. Shall I tell you something frankly? Greeks hate Islam. Why? Forcefully invaded by Muslims. This sense, you can see it, you can feel it. Only why there are some peoples who were transferred from Muslim to take care of the administrative jobs. Local people never had any sympathy. Like you said, if someone comes and gets the ruling of your house, you hate it. But Hudaybiyah, I'll complete it soon. So Hudaybiyah is described in the Quran not conquer, but fatah, opening. So that peaceful spread of Islam went over across the Arabian Peninsula peacefully. That is fatah. Any opportunity given to you by the grace of Allah to spread Islam is a fatah. It may be on a personal level or in a community level. Doesn't matter. We have to understand that real fatah is conquering the minds and feelings of the people with the truth, reality, not with power. Unfortunately, it is not very well understood and appreciated, this word in this beautiful surah Fatih. Inna fatahna, opened, like fathan mubinan, obvious, clear, no doubt. Fathan mubinan, it means really, it's a maf'ul mutlaq. Definitely, this is the Fatih. Hudaybiyah, there was no war. Alhamdulillah. Just the treaty of peace. Okay. Najati, that is your turn.
Yeah, I think this is, mashallah, it's very, very powerful way of portraying Hudaybiyah and driving very relevant and universal lesson. So in the wording part, as you are mentioning, so even the beginning say inna, so inna here, and then at the end, fathan mubina is emphasizing for sure, verily, no doubt. So you see even twice repeating that because there was a doubt that it was a victory. Normally, most people, when they look at that, if you open any Islamic history book, they look at Hudaybiyah purely as a political event of that time and discussing how what was the condition and how Muslims perceived that. But I don't know anyone really look at the wording of this ayah and drive such universal principle and saying this ayah is describing and changing the very perception of what a conquering mean. It's setting the constitutional law and saying that if you are going to become a state and engage in conquering, that you cannot go and think conquering as just occupying the land and using the power and forcing the others to submit to you. Conquering has to be done through opening the hearts and the mind of people to the divine message. And I think this goes perfectly well with the understanding of Islam in terms of the free will, irada. If Iman is a matter of choice by individual, then you can never force people to choose to become Muslims. That means forcing is not a choice. So in this case, that basically Islam recognizes that human has a free will and they choose to become Muslim or not. But what you will do, you will show the beauty of Islam and they will decide to open their heart. So in a way, I say the door is locked from the within. they have to open the door for you to deliver the message there. So, and I think that the fath, repetition of fath twice in terms of opening, in a way, I look at this like as if the heart are locked from the within. And then they describe that your purpose is to have the people to open up their heart to the message. And that is a true fath, which I think once we look at it, in this way, as you mentioned, that we can, take the meaning of fath at the personal level, and we'll try to see how we can open up the heart of people to the Quranic message. To do that, I think that's now when we're saying, I understood that why Nursi put it very elegantly, says the Prophet, peace be upon him, he was Mahbubul Qulub first because he gained the love and the trust of people, became Muhammadul Amin before communicating his message to them, which means it's absolutely essential that we establish good relationship with others, become friend with them, have peace with them, then they can open up their mind and heart to our message. Then we could communicate the message through our words and through our actions. So, and I think in this regard, that if we look at it this way, then this ayah become something extremely relevant to us. It speak to us and tell us what should we do and how should we act to bring the Quranic message to the other individual around us. So love, friendship, care must come first. The purpose is not war or conquering or acquiring the land. The purpose is to open the mind and the heart. And I think is mashallah, it's really excellent. And I hope we will truly, understand this message, this meaning, and try to see how we can bring to our life.
Now, first of all, before going to another subject, for the political and economical side of the matter, examples, we are studying just examples. Of course, this ayah, this surah was revealed immediately after the treaty was signed, and the story we hear from the historians, Omar radiallahu anhu, was very disappointed. Is a brave man, famous Omar is angry, brave, determined man. So represents one character, of course, and every, especially Khulafai Rashidin, four Khalifa represents the main character of the Muslim community. Abu Bakr on the side, Umar another type. I'm not going, it's not our subject, but we have to see the wisdom in the arrangement of the Caliph, Khulafai Rashidin, they are called. They have different character representatives. Uthman, Ali, yeah, we know that, this story. Anyways, this is a miraculous side. This ayah shows the miraculous side of it. Umar was disappointed. On the way back from Hudaybiyah, Prophet ﷺ recited this surah to him, revealed. Of course, the history of the tafsirs, all surah, some part of the surah is disputed. But he recited this, of course. The ayah, the surah starts with Inna fatahna laka fatham mubina. You emphasized on it clear enough, inshallah. The Umar was so surprised. Where is, you call it conquer? No, opening up. There is a new era now starting. This is one of the news that the Quran gives, apart from Qulubetir Rum famous. This is also very important, miraculous news of the Quran. The event happened later on, but the news came before and guaranteed by the following uh, events. Now, it is a miraculous news of the Quran, one side of it. Another side of it, this verse, using the Fatih, the word Fatih, has a pedagogical significance. Without conquering the minds and hearts of a person, anybody, your spouse, your children, you cannot teach them anything. You cannot educate them. Opening is important. Fatih is important. First, opening. In order to open, as you said, you have to gain the love of the person or people by quarreling, fighting. If I come and show my power to you with army, you will see who the Muslims are. This is a just contrary to human reality. Now, this is one part I was taking notes, and we have to understand that while we are reading Sirah, the life of biography of the life of the Prophet, and following usually Sirah books, some of them covers Khulafai Rashidin as well, which is right. We have to be very careful what the revelation teaches us. Revelation teaches us first Fatih. And then if there is an attack, defend. That's right. Everybody justifies it in the whole world. Muslims, non-Muslims, everyone. You have to defend yourself. That is different. But what we have to see that the Prophet in his relationship, والسلام, with his companions, the friends around him, with other tribes, must have this sense. We have to read the Sirah carefully. First, gaining the minds and hearts, and then trying to, for example, make a treaties with them, so understanding each other and respecting each other's rights, etc. But if we get a picture, of Sirah, we have to be careful about it, which the Prophet والسلام, forced people by power to join Islam. This picture contradicts this verse, this surah. We have to know that if you read the whole surah, Fatih, at the end, the surah deals with mostly the description of Akhirah, evidence of the truthfulness of the belief, foundational belief principles, and there is no war mentioned. It is important. So this is the real picture of the Prophet's life, Sirah. We have to be very careful while we are reading the Sirah narrations, because we may be misled by, especially Medina period, describe, not all of them, describe the Prophet as the one who runs from one war to another war, attacks the tribes. It contradicts the message. Now, we have to say this is for some other reasons, because historians, history mentions only what? Something unusual, physical event. History cannot mention how the hearts and minds have been conquered. History cannot mention the spiritual side of the events, meaning side of the events, wisdom of the events, physical event. They take the picture. Nowadays also they do the same thing. They take the picture. What happens? People are fighting or shouting, or the armies are fighting with each other. They don't know what's going on behind it. They cannot. So we have to be very careful. That is what I have to share with my friends about the universal message of this event mentioned in the Qur'an. And this is what we learned now in other constitutional principles. First, conquer the minds of, and the hearts of the matter, and let Allah deliver the hidayah, guidance to the people. You cannot deliver
Right.
guidance to the people.
I think it's an excellent point. What it really reminds me is whether we are in non-Muslim countries or in Muslim countries, if anyone is around you that you see they are far from Islamic Quranic message, the way to reach out to them is by this Quranic principle, in a way to establish good relationship, to have them to love and be interested in the message first and foremost. I remember after 9/11 in US, PBS made a documentary, try to understand how Islam spread it in a very short time. What was the secret? And they came up with the title of documentary was The Empire of Faith. I feel like you can almost change the title, say that this was an empire of love, trust, and care, in which that basically wherever it goes, it's first gain the trust and love of individuals. Then people themselves open their heart and mind and see the wisdom and beauty in Islam and embrace it. So I think that is very, very essential that we learn that. Now, I want to, before you want to move to the next one, I know, but I want to really briefly brings another war, that from the life prophet, and reflect my own understanding and see what you will say. And that is the Battle of Uhud. And in Surah Ali Imran does cover that. And it's in a way, when I reflect on that, whenever I visit Medina and go to the place and reflect on that historical event, to me, I see a very relevant message to every believers. Because in that battles, obviously, Muslims were about to win the battle, but there were, around 50 individuals assigned certain tasks, and they were supposed to not leave that, listening to the message from the commander. But when they thought the war was over, or they are winning clearly, they left their position. Now, to me, when I look at that, and then they had it after that, at that time, what appeared to be very painful defeat. The way I look at this, I say that the message here that you have to follow the Sunnatullah, the Sunnah of the war, and if you don't follow it, there is no exception, even if you are the companion of the Prophet, peace be upon him, or even if you are the Prophet himself. So in other words, I look at it, I say that this clearly says that whatever you do, you have to know what are the requirement in terms of the will of God for me to fulfill my duty. And you have to follow them. If you don't follow them, don't expect the outcome to be in your favor, because you're violating that that divine wills in terms of the orderly systems there. So that is really and I look at mostly the feats of Muslims in, in many area. It's like this, that if you don't follow the Sunnatullah, then expect that Allah gonna make you to be successful at the personal level, at societal level, at the ummah level. I say, go and wait. You're gonna wait too long because you're not following the Sunnah. So I don't know, what will you comment on this? Since you are reflecting on Badr and Hudaybiyah, I thought it would be good to bring this as well.
No, you summarized it beautifully. What happened in the Uhud as well. So following the Sunnah, what you have to do is you have to do it. If you don't, Allah doesn't change His Sunnah for sake of your claim, because saying that I believe in you, Allah, you are the Razzaq. You are the only Razzaq. I don't worship in causes. Give me a plate of rice. Wait. Wait, it will come. Wait until you die. No, it doesn't happen. That's Allah doesn't change. وَلَنْ تَجِدَ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا. So that is perfectly said. Living in America after 9/11, what happened? 2 buildings were destroyed. Okay. I don't know the story. There are many narrations. I have nothing to say about it. Who did it? Why it was done? How is it utilized? On whatever, inside problem, outside problem. There are many, many narrations. That's not my subject. But 2 buildings were destroyed. At the expense of what? Islam was declared as a violent religion. That time, I walk in the street with my Muslim identity. So if someone sees me, definitely knows I'm a Muslim because of my dress or cloth. Now, I was walking on the normal sidewalk, and there is a car parked there, and there are some people in the car. As I was coming, they locked the door. Why? A terrorist is coming. That was the image, my friend. A terrorist coming. They cannot feel comfortable. How do they get it? Media. But people follow media. They follow what physically happened. Yeah. So that was the label of the Islam after 9/11. Alhamdulillah, it is slowly disappearing. Islam is a religion of violence, and every Muslim is a terrorist. What did we gain? 2 buildings were destroyed. What did we gain? We lost. We lost a lot. Anyways, there is no need to talk about this physical power, using the physical power, giving importance to the power in order to spread Islam is something always questionable. Defending is different. Defending is legitimate and recognized by everyone. But Islam equated with power is the most misleading feature of Islam, religion of Islam. Contradicts the very name Islam, peace. You cannot declare peace with power. We have to be careful. Economic inequality. Shall we pass on?
Yeah, I think so. We have I know that's a quite deeper one, but let's start to see how much progress we can make.
Yeah. Now, responding to Mecca's merchant class, this is a typical subject, and social and economic justice. The Quran establishes social and economic justice. But how does it do that? We will listen to the ayah, inshallah. Now, social and economic justice is really established. I'm just trying to draw the attention of our friends here. Established through what? It is so interesting, so delicate. Inshallah, we will try to understand it. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
الذين يأكلون الربا لا يقومون إلا كما يقوم الذي يتخبطه الشيطان من المس ذلك بأنهم قالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا وأحل الله البيع وحرم الربا فمن جاءه موعظة من ربه فانتهى فله ما سلف وأمره إلى الله ومن عاد فأولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون.
Those who take usury will rise up on the day of resurrection like someone tormented by Satan's touch. It is a symbolic description of it. It means destroyed everything. It means really the very bad condition. Now, that is because they say trade and usury are the same. But it's interesting. I'm not going to spend more time later on while I am reading the translation, make my comments just to draw the attention. They say trade and usury are the same. This is the reason. Of course, it seems to be, isn't it? When I buy something from you and give you the money, you give me the property, whatever, or any merchandise, then this is what we are doing. Okay, give me this money. I will give you 1 year later. You give me $100. I will give you $100 five next year. It's a trade, isn't it? Seems to be. But the Quran says, without giving further detailed explanation, but God has allowed trade and forbidden usury. Now, trade means, of course, justified risk, trust in God. Well, we will talk about it a lot. There is a risk there, and trust in God, and forbidden usury, how we should understand it, trust in financial power. It is not only an economical transaction. It is the conflict of understanding how you see that. Am I going to trust in my money, guaranteed, or am I going to take the risk, committed treaty or commit an event that I will do this, and let me see what Allah give me, what God is going to give me in return. You know, trade has tawakkul in it. Usually has guarantee in it. But guarantee in the eye of human beings. I. Now, I gave 100, guaranteed it will be 105 at the end of the year. Guaranteed. That is usury, isn't it? You cannot lose in usury contract. But in trade contract, you may gain, you may lose. But this is a matter of really your relationship with your creator. It is not a matter of trade and usury. That is what God says, with the ayat says here, أحل الله البيع وحرم الربا. That's it. Try to see. This is the rule established by your creator, and your creator is the one who is the wise creator. He is the most merciful creator. If I am telling you this, you see the wisdom in it, you will see the mercy in it. But be careful, God is speaking, not a man. The owner, the creator of the universe, Rabbul Alameen, is saying. What I am saying, I allow trade and forbidden usury. Think about it. That is what we have to change our vocabulary. Now, I would say, God has allowed trade means you have to trust God. You don't know the future. You cannot expect what you expect, but definitely God creates what he knows the best for you. So take the risk. Take this trade. I am going, for example, to some country, take some merchandise from there and bring it to the place where I am. And I don't know whether I will make, there will be something on the road that I may be robbed, or there will be an accident that for example, trailer, the vehicle is destroyed. I don't know. I will put my trust in God. I may lose, I may gain. I don't know. But this is the experience of trusting in God's decision, not your decision. But in usury, you are seeing that my money is the matter for me. I have to put my trust in my power, in my money, in my property. Guaranteed. This is the difference. Trade and usury makes the difference between believer in God and non-believer in God. It doesn't mean that we are not passing here and fiqh ruling saying that if someone involves in usury it is kafir. No, 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 no. It is a matter of teaching of the Qur'an and how the Qur'an should be understood. That is our subject. Understanding the Qur'an today. In our life now, we have to see the teachings of the Quran concerning even financial matters, even worldly affairs, from belief perspective. What is the message of belief perspective? Believing in Allah, believing in Akhirah, believing in angels. Which aspect of the belief the ayah I am studying focusing on? Now, let me continue. Well, whoever on receiving God's warning, God's warning here, be careful. I am allowing trade and I am forbidding usury. Now, if you receive this warning, stop taking usury. Stop trusting in the property you have. In the property you have. Now, so may keep his past gain. Well, if you have made some mistakes before, get engaged into usury transactions. Now, God will be his judge there. Okay, let's finish now. From now on, your life direction should change. But whoever goes back to usury will be an inhabitant of the fire, there to remain. So the end is you will be very sorry if you continue doing this. It means not putting your trust property. It's a beautiful eye. So in the in Islamic terminology, all the word mal, el-mal, el-banun. So we have to understand that the Quran, in the Quranic perspective, this is just Allah's grace to us. That is why even we give zakat, the Quran describes it. What Allah gave you, give your zakat, your ينفقون مما رزقناهم ومما رزقناهم ينفقون ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. It's rizq. Now, we say, I have money. No. Quran says, وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ. Rizq. From God, from my creator. ينفقون infaq. Now, that is give away or, I mean, whatever. We will talk about it. Our subject is not fiqh matters. So, shall we read the second word or not?
Yeah, I think we have a little time left. Let me reflect on what you mentioned, because this is also, it's really amazing. The key part here is that we're talking how the Quran provides some universal guidance and principle for our social life as well. Now here, it's very clear, the ayah is emphasizing that riba, that usury, is a serious problem and it should be completely abandoned. So the reason is that right now, I actually study economics for a long time, and there is one economist from France. He published a book a few years ago, studied this, looking the data for 300 years, and he said that the main reason behind the inequality in the Western society is because those who have money earn more than what their money actually contribute to economy. So in other words, they end up through this riba system. There is a redistribution of wealth taken away from certain individual, giving to those who have the capital. He made it in an elegant argument based on a very comprehensive economic data, and saying that is the real cause of the inequality that we get. And it reached to the level, he argues, is not sustainable, is going to cause, social problems, and those peoples might rebel against the rich. They might hate the rich because the gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now here, I think the Quran put it in an amazing way. The riba is not the problem of the past, if the problem of the humanity, perhaps, I don't know, for thousands of years. And it is unfair because you're getting more than what your money is producing economically. Because if your money produces something, you have the right to get the profit share from that. But when riba is all about, I'm going to give you money, no matter what happens, you have to give me more. But if your money did not bring more, then now I have to give from my own to you. That is not fair, and that is not justice. And I see the Quran's emphasis here is on the justice and clearly targeting some practices that is unjust, and says that You have to quit that. You have to give up this. And again, as an economist trained for many years on this one, I don't see how further you could emphasize that when the Quran says how they're gonna bring in the hereafter is in a way saying this is something's absolutely terrible. This is something's disgusting. This is something shall not continue. Stop doing that. It destroyed the social life. It destroyed the social fabric. It destroyed the relationship in society. Don't do it. And I fully agree with this. I think that's amazing to look at this and try to see how we can get, a lessons as a humanity from such amazing principles.
Let's inshallah. Pardon. Have you
I think
done?
I think we are I think we are done in terms of the time. So beside this ayah, I think we discussed Hudaybiyah and what we learned from the Hudaybiyah. Though it looks like it was a defeat, but it was a victory. But the way the Quran put it and used the word fath give us a lesson that that's not, Quran is not talking about that historical event. Quran using this historical event is giving us the message that how we shall conquer the heart and the mind of people by making peace with them, having friendship with them, gain their trust and love, then they can open their heart to the divine message. So I think that was a key message we learned there, and then we discuss on this economic justice, and I think inshallah we'll continue on this tomorrow.
Inshallah, we will see an interesting, very interesting, interlocked teaching of the Quran, Iman, Amel. Now, inshallah, tomorrow we will emphasize on it because the following verse is really it's an amazing. So we will try to see how Iman is in the main ingredients included in the Amal. Quran teaches this. Unfortunately, we are not we may not be really very much exposed this aspect of the Quran, how the Quran really connects, ties up in each action, iman aspect of it. We have to learn how to read the Quran, especially the ayats talking about word matters like this one. But it is a teaching of belief matters, essentials of belief there. Inshallah, tomorrow. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Inshallah. Okay, let's hear the dua, inshallah, closing dua from you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana. إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا إن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you very much. And Assalamu alaikum, everyone. See you tomorrow, inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah. I'm excited about tomorrow's subject. It's very interesting.
Indeed. Iman and Amal, inshallah.
Connection. In the ayah. In the ayah.
Inshallah.
Wassalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.